Oh, I wasn't ready. I was eating my wings. I wasn't ready. I was eating my wings. You gotta cue me in. That's how we do this. That's how we do this.
All right.
Come here! Let's go, give me a flipper!
All right. Welcome to a very hungry episode of Amateur Hour. Troy and Aaron and I are Buffalo Wild Wings, eating chicken wings and lamenting the weeks of teams not showing up from the league. So that is our topic for the first little section here. I don't really want to go through games because there have been so few competitive games and so many games where teams didn't show up. Obviously, the Jack boys are doing very well. Obviously, the teams in the lower division are doing very poorly. And biggest surprise to me this year was the Expendables. Started off, I think, 0-5. But that was because they, once again, had people not showing up. And Trey Green, it appears, has moved on from flag football.
And then they played the Herd.
Oh, they played the Herd, and they won in a shutout. So there's a little bright spot for them there. But, I thought we would start this off with kind of what went wrong this year, because obviously this has been kind of a difficult year. Even though there were 9 teams, a lot of them have not shown up on a lot of weeks. So I'll ask y'all if you have something in particular you think happened or a few things.
So this is the Colin Cowherd segment. What went wrong? Where Colin was wrong? Where Colin was right?
I don't know who that is.
Where Cody was wrong.
Well, that would be a longer podcast. You have to stick with this.
Starts way
stick
back.
with this flag football league.
Where we went wrong was we assumed and trusted that people were going to show up since they had been the last several years with the forfeit rule. People showed up, and now that we everyone knew that they were going to make the playoffs, the higher up teams knew they were going to make the playoffs, they realized, well, we don't have to show up now because we're going to make the playoffs. So we trusted them to show up, and they didn't, and that was our mistake.
Some of them gamed the system a little bit.
Yeah, that was
and they were
our
like,
mistake.
well, we're already going to make the playoffs, which is another mistake. The point of having the 3 divisions was that if you have this toughest division, your games are more competitive because you play the harder teams twice. But as an incentive, you get to make the playoffs, But playing for a seed was not enough to motivate people to show up every week. You have to be playing for a spot. And I hate that because I want these lower teams to play more competitive games. But it's hard to do with 9, which is another problem. That was too many teams. Should have cut it off at 8. Aaron, do you have something that you can think of that you thought was a problem this year?
Not really too much else to say other than what y'all said. I mean, we just kind of gave them a little bit of a safety net. Kind of like what you're saying. We thought people would show up, and then when they're not, you're sitting there going, okay, well, what happened? And it's just one of those things. I guess you kind of have to keep the carrot out a little bit further, and not
guarantee the stick.
Yeah, and so. Also too, maybe we could have went with stricter forfeit rules.
Yeah.
That's just something I don't think we discussed at the time. We just kind of ran with what we had, which it's been a big lesson for us, I guess. Going forward.
Yeah. Now all of these to me seem like fixable things, and I agree with everything y'all said about it. I think, these could have been things that would have solved, I think, an okay portion of the forfeits. I think a bigger problem, and one that I don't know that we can solve, is that the team captains are beginning to lose interest and getting older, and nobody wants to take their place. Like, there's no one that will step up that wants to be a team captain now I think there are still plenty of people who want to play.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a want to play. It's a want to control a team. Or, nobody wants to control a team ever, but it's a willingness to control a team, get people's money, make sure they're there, and things like that. I think that is an extremely short supply right now.
Exactly, yeah. So it's an all-around problem. Like, we still have the rule where you have to play at least 2 games to play in the playoffs. So if you were, say, your team was going to make the playoffs no matter what and you didn't show up at all, well, then you couldn't play because you didn't show up. So, it's at least play in the league, play the games. They're scheduled, show up. And then the problem of just not even saying you're not showing up. Because we could have gotten that other team a game. They could have played somebody. We could have scheduled something else.
Sure.
And that's
to me is the most
frustrating.
frustrating.
That's frustrating because that just shows that you just don't care. You don't care. You're just going to show up when you want to. And that's how you are. That's how you are. But it's just kind of frustrating. It ruins it for everybody else.
Yeah, and as much as I try to do a lot of hand-holding and remind people about games, I did not do enough hand-holding with the brand-new teams before the league and make sure that they could show up. Basically, they raised the money and said we have a team, and I took them at their word. And I think they thought that. But I'd learned this lesson in the past. Every now and then you have to relearn stuff, So most of these things, though, I think are fixable. But if you can't fix the people willing to be in charge of a team problem, I think that's going to be bad. I think of all these things, that could be the thing that could potentially end the league at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, the league is for sale if anyone's willing to purchase.
Well, I think we've covered what went wrong fairly well. Now, moving forward, I've talked to JC, and come the fall league, he and Byron Johnson, they're the Hurricanes people for anybody that doesn't know, are going to start taking a role in running the league. I'm hoping that they will take a fairly large role beginning in the fall, and I'll be there to help. And eventually, they will run the league, and I might show up on Sundays if my son's playing, and I feel like it. Otherwise, I'd like to do things behind the scenes, put the schedule online. I'll pay the bills. I'll file paperwork. I'll get insurance. I just don't want to spend my Sundays at the field. So come the fall, that'll be what will probably happen.
I would like for you to go over some of that stuff again, the behind-the-scenes stuff again, for the people to understand what all it does take for us to run. It's not just show up on Sunday and we mark the field and set it up and play games. It maybe takes a little more ownership of the league, of the players, realizing how much is done for this league to go. So I want you to just detail some of that stuff so they know what all it takes to play.
Well, in an extremely abbreviated way, I'll just tell everybody the very start of flag football, let's say in around June or July. June or July, you have to start advertising on Facebook. If you have flyers, that works. Reaching out to people who play, recruiting teams for a tournament, hopefully at the endish of August. Now, I know people don't like the tournaments as much as the league, but the tournaments are extremely important because they pay for the awards at the end of the leagues, the belts, the shirts, cool stuff we can give away, field paint. They pay for a lot of that stuff, so it's very important, if you can, to make the tournament happen. Then you have, once teams sign up for it, you have to collect the money, make sure that money's deposited, pay the field rent for the field, and this is all before you ever get out there. So on a day before the game, on game day, on let's say it's Saturday or Friday, someone has to go mark the field, someone has to go clean the restrooms, somebody has to go make sure that everything works. On game day, you have to organize, and you have to make the whole schedule for the whole weekend and come up with what's going to happen if this team doesn't show up and have replacement games.
Constant communication with people. Yeah.
Yes. And this is all happening between you, me, and Aaron at this point, making this work. On game days, somebody has to be there to video the games. We have to make sure refs are there. We have to make sure that someone's there to represent the league in case people have questions. We have to make sure people know when to play. We have to be able to answer questions about well, this isn't fair because of some unforeseen circumstance, and try to make it fair. That's all on tournament day. After tournament day, you have to clean up all the field, clean up the bathrooms again. I have to go back, put all these games on the internet, update all the website and stuff, and that's on my Monday or Tuesday. That's just for the tournament. The league is very similar. You have to advertise and everything, but then there's making the schedule, skipping holidays, skipping these other days. What's going to happen if you have a rain out? Are you going to cancel, or are you going to tack it on to the end? Dealing with teams that don't show up, finding games during the week, reminding people every single week of what time they play. When teams don't show up, calling the team captain and asking, are you still in the league? On game days, there's still the field marking. Troy and Aaron video the games, and we all pick up trash. If I can't be there, they show up and run the whole thing. And then at the end, there's the ordering of shirts, there's the ordering of a belt, and we do everything customized. So we get your team logo. We put your team logo on the belt. We put your team logo on the shirts. And all that takes a lot of time, and we get paid how much?
Zero.
Yes.
Zero. Plus dealing with the Little League from time to time, which is fun.
Well, the Little League, we have a good relationship with the Little League at this point. It hasn't always been that way, and it always depends on their leadership. But there's a lot that goes into it, and it's not impossible. And if you had 8 people that were very reliable, you could absolutely easily run this league forever. The problem is we have never found 8 reliable people. When Walt was doing it, it was great. He did a very good job, But people move on, and they have families, and they have jobs, and they have careers. They move away. They get interested in something else. They don't want to sweat their nuts off all day on a Sunday. So as you're running this league, you're constantly going, well, what if he doesn't show up, and what if he doesn't show up? And if you're the guy, if you're you and I'm not around and Aaron's not around, you're it,
Yep.
So, it's tough, and you have to get referees. I don't know if I said that.
Yeah.
And I know people complain about one of the refs, but let me tell y'all, I have seen what it's like to have someone who is a very, very terrible ref out there, and it is not great, and it is very frustrating, and I would almost rather have one good ref than one good ref and somebody who doesn't even understand the rules of the sport. Anyway, so does that cover everything?
Yeah, more than I was expecting. Yes, that's what it takes, though. It's not just a bunch of guys playing in the backyard on the weekend. This is a legitimate league that is, a non-profit recreation league that has tax forms and insurance and stuff. It's a real thing.
I'm done with it. I don't need any more. Thank you.
It's a real working business. And that's just, that's what it is.
Right, and we designed it in such a way that we don't make any money. That any money we get, we can put back into it with shirts, with fun. We did the Christmas Bowl, all those bowl games. Yeah. We didn't make any money. In fact, we lost money off that stuff. The Christmas Bowl was free, and it was a blast, But that was the point all along, was to have fun.
And then when we have had money left over, we've sponsored things, we've given out scholarships, we've given out things like that. So
right.
It's nothing comes to us at all. I've spent more money playing flag football in my life than I've done in doing anything else.
I'm not complaining about that. I just want people to understand that when we're doing this stuff, it's not that we're motivated by anything else than trying to put on something that's a good time for everybody. So when it stops being a good time,
well, that was kind of the topic, the financial part when we started, because other leagues were all about just making money, and so that's always just at the back of my brain when we talk about the league. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of what we've done, and I look forward to being a part of it, for a little while. Not forever, but I'm not leaving. I'm just trying to get somebody else to shoulder more of this than I care to, and frankly, I think a change would be good. Other people have ideas. My ideas might be stale at this point. Aaron, do you have anything about any of that stuff, running the league? Aaron said nope.
Well,
Go ahead.
I might have a little bit. I'll say this too. I mean, y'all have already covered everything, and I don't think I can really piggyback off of much of it. But, you know, I will say this: when people don't give us advance notice that their team isn't going to make it, that kind of, it's hard to say what I'm getting at. But basically, it's just we schedule our day around, okay, we're going to be at the field from about 9:30 till about maybe 3:30 that Sunday. And when people don't show up, it's like, okay, well, we could have condensed this down. You know, when you run the league, you have to kind of turn down other things that might come up at times to make time to work it. And when somebody doesn't call in for their team and say, hey, you know, within at least a couple of days' notice, then we're all showing up thinking you're going to be there.
And then, sometimes there's accidents, and then sometimes there's been people show up with 4 people before, and they're like, man, I'm sorry they said they would be here. I know that team captain is pissed off at his team.
Yeah.
I understand that. It sucks. It happens.
Yeah.
There are put-together teams that, you know, that 3 or 4 of them show up, and I know that that's just not a reliable situation.
Yeah.
What irritates me is that teams that I know are still going to play in the league don't show up.
Exactly.
On purpose. And or not even on purpose, just because nobody can wake up to show up. I find that to be extremely disrespectful.
Yeah, that's mostly what I'm speaking to right there. I mean, you know, because we schedule our days around this. And, you know, I don't know about y'all, but any couple hours I can get on the weekend, I'm thankful, you know. So I just want to know it's well spent when I show up.
Exactly.
That's all. That's my point.
And with JC running the league, we had to pick the ugliest person in the world to run this league, to take it over.
Why are you talking about Byron like that?
Ha, 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 ha. What went right? Sean as the ref. Sean's the best. He went right. He's always right.
Sean did go right. I think Aaron Ward went right.
Yeah. There you go.
Let me choke down this chicken.
Choke your chicken. Go and choke your chicken over there.
Okay. So I kind of wanted to talk just a few minutes about progress. So this was kind of a Debbie Downer podcast, but I want y'all to think about progress and the way it really looks in the real world, like a business even. There's never a line that goes diagonally straight up to the right, you know, a perfect 45-degree angle line. There's always little downs and ups and downs and ups. Every time people get into the down, whether it's crime, whether it's a bad spot in a marriage, we catastrophize and everything's just the worst, and it's always been where it's never been this bad, and I wish we could have the good old days. Just leave open the possibility that this is not just for the league, but society, if you're going through a hard time, this is just one of those little pokey parts that goes down on your graph. It'll go back up, you know, as long as you do the things to make it go back up. And I think that we are doing those things with the league. You know, JC is nice enough to volunteer to start taking some of this stuff over because it's important to him. And I want, JC, I know you listen to this, I want you and Byron to know that I appreciate y'all very, very much. But for those of you guys who enjoy the league and play, please don't be shy about helping him and Byron and helping this new generation of you know, the young adults now who would like to keep playing in the league and, you know, have this thing to do on Sundays. So I really do hope that, you know, even though this league hasn't gone, the season hasn't gone that well, that you can bear in mind that things can get much better, especially if you take or make the choices and do the things to make them better.
I mean, this is the only flag football league. If it goes under, that's going to be it for flag football in this area, because no one else is going to create something as a place where you can go play consistently with a scoreboard, with filming of the games, with all the stuff, with a championship belt, with scheduling. It's not going to happen. No one's going to do that. You have that right here. With softball, when you finish playing baseball, you can go play softball. You finish playing basketball, you can still play basketball somewhere else. Same with golf and tennis and all these sports, but when football ends, when you're done playing football, there's no other like keep playing football leagues really. That's what the flag football does. It fills that void that people miss playing, and if we lose it, it's gone around here. Where are you going to go? You're going to go to Houston and play every weekend? No, you can't even get up to come to Lumberton half the time. Are you going to go to Houston and play every weekend? No. So,
No.
that's just where I'm at. This is the one and only league, and the only one that's been worth the damn in the past 10 years. So,
And I don't mean to scaremonger or whatever, but if this league does end, especially soon, what you will have are people promising a flag football league, and you'll show up, and it'll be good for about 3 or 4 weeks until who is running it decides that they're not interested anymore. And they'll keep that league going for about a year. You'll end up playing the same people who are on 8 different teams over and over and over again. The playoffs won't mean anything. You'll get your shirts or championship shirts sometimes, and then that league will end. And then you'll have another league like that pop back up. There will be no YouTube videos of your games, and if there are, they will be sparing and almost incomprehensible.
and every game you play is going to be against the same 7 or 8 people,
Yes.
just in different forms. It's all going to be you're going to play about the same people every time.
So if having an organized league to play in, which, has been set up and established, all you have to do is help out a little bit. So please think about that for the fall league, because I am here to do absolutely anything to make this keep going after I'm gone. Not absolutely anything. I'll help a lot. That's much better, right? Yeah, you can spit it right there. Thank you.
I will not. Maybe I'll ref. Maybe I'll ref with Sean. Maybe I'll come out and ref with Sean.
Well, that brings me to my last little bit here. Troy, what do you see in the future for yourself?
Well, I see that I'm pretty much done playing flag football. I can't do what I used to be able to do, and if it's not fun anymore. So I'm going to be taking steps back from the league. Maybe I'll ref like a week or two, or half the time, or something like that. Maybe I'll come out and ref. I don't know. Depends on how much I enjoy it, how fun it is. But I don't know. I really don't have a plan other than I just think I'm done playing.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's all I can think. I just know that I figured I could just play for a very longer than I thought. I thought I could play, just keep going, but I just can't handle the physicality anymore. So
Well, and you run a lot now.
yeah, it's just a different type of movement, and it's not the same. So, but so I don't know. It's fun to see that where we came from, where we are now, who's in the league now. Some of these kids on our team were under 10 years old when we started the league.
Yes.
And now they're playing in it.
2015.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm just
And this will not be the final podcast.
no, of course not. This is we have the Flightless Bird party
Yeah.
that
And
that
look,
vote is happening.
It's not that you're never going to see us ever again. Just, this is kind of a please start helping if you want to statement.
If it got to the point to where it was so busy they needed help with stuff, I would be out there and helping. Like if it was the fact of like, man, we've got so many games, we have so many things going on. Could you
Sure.
come help? Yeah, I would help.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, what does the future hold for Aaron Jazzmaster Ward?
Jazzmaster.
How'd you tell him that's the nickname we came up with?
Sorry. It's not really.
You just made it up.
Okay. Scabadoo bop. Okay. No, yeah. I don't know. Once you said Jazzmaster, that was kind of stored up in me. I had to get it out. Yeah, man. I really don't know. I don't know where I am at this point. I'll tell you. I want like 2 things. I want to be on one team that wins a championship.
Okay.
I would like that. And then I would also
You're on a team that has won a championship.
I want to be on the team when they win it.
Oh, okay.
Well, you're on the wrong team.
Yeah, so there's that, and then also I'm a little burned out right now, man. You know, it's just kind of like it's just been a drag ever since it's just been us three, because we're all having to kind of cover a lot of things every Saturday every Sunday for 20 weekends or 22 weekends out of the year, and so I would welcome any and all help. I don't think I'm a leader. Like, I'm not someone that could adequately take over the league and run it, but I would probably be okay with doing what I've done since like 2018, which has just kind of been by y'all's side and fill in where I need to.
Do your part.
Yeah. I really enjoy that because there's a need for that kind of person who can just pop in and
Sure.
say,
And well, I'm glad you said that. If that's what you want to do, and you think you can help a little bit, maybe one game a weekend, that's enough.
Yes, that's the key. I would like to do a little bit less if I stay with the leadership.
Cody's mom helping out, coming for one game a week, helps out the league so much, because usually and during our games, if that was the case, if she wasn't there, we wouldn't have anyone to film our game, so that not only would our game not get filmed, but the other team that we're playing wouldn't get their game filmed every week. So, or we'd have to have one of our players film it. So, one person helping out one game a week makes a big difference. That's all it takes.
Yes, you are correct. Well, I want to tell you both that I appreciate you so much, and I could not do any of this stuff without y'all. I would be, well, I don't know. I think I would have lost any hair that I still have.
Well, hey, Cody, we appreciate you, man. I mean, you've set this all up for us, and I wouldn't have met
Troy helped with that a lot.
Well, Troy, thank you as well. No, seriously.
I get more credit than I should never get.
If this thing wasn't open, I wouldn't have met, at least a handful of friends that I've met through this league. I would have never met him. Blake Dugas, I would have never met that dude. And he's one of my better friends right now.
That's good.
And I've met y'all guys. I've enjoyed the time that we spent together, like nights like this. It's even from a personal perspective, like, I don't know how to say this, but I didn't grow up with a lot of like diversity around me. And I've gotten to meet a whole lot of different people, especially from a different skin color. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
And
different background.
it has helped me understand the way people think, and we're all kind of the same at the end of the day. But so more or less what I'm saying is thank y'all guys, and I know a ton of people from our league would say the same thing if they were sitting around us today.
Well, that means
there's more people thankful than I think we think of sometimes.
I think you're absolutely right, and that means a lot to me. I really don't have anything else today.
No, I don't either. I think this was good. We haven't had one in a while. I think it's good to just sit down and kind of reflect on things, not make it so much of a joke sometimes. This is because we are serious about what we're doing. We joke around and act like idiots and whatever, but this is a real thing that we've tried to do and grow in the area. And this is flag football has basically been the one thing that's always been there in my life for the past 20-something years. So there's that.
Next week, you have, the next podcast at least, we hope to bring back on Bill Peterson, who won an award recently, and we'll interview him about that. I hope to see all of you Sunday, at least those of you who respond to my text message, because if you don't, I'm going to assume you're not there, and I will...
I'm letting everyone know, letting you all know in advance, I'm probably not going to be there.
More
look
incentive
how
to
loud
go.
that. Look at the levels. Look how loud I got.
Yeah.
I will not be there, most likely.
Well, I will be there. Aaron will be there, and we hope to have a really good Sunday with you guys. So I don't have a sign-off line, but I know Troy.
I'm changing.
You're not going to do that one.
I'm changing it.
Are you changing it now?
I'm changing it right now.
Go ahead.
JC, you're ugly.
JC, you are absolutely